Yeah, it should be.
Nancy, can you hear us?
You still hear us? Yep. Okay. All right, I call to order our City of King City special session Tuesday, June 9th, 2026 at 1:11 p.m. The roll call, Councilor Dede.
Here.
Councilor Quanstrom. Here. Councilor Cunningham. Here. Council President Gerhart.
Here.
Councilor Tyso. Here. Councilor Mitchell is absent, excused, and Mayor Kazmarski is here. At this time, we will, the council will be happy to receive your comments pertaining to items on the agenda, with the exception of public hearings for which testimony will be received and conducted in the proper form and manner at the time of the hearing, including questions, suggestions, complaints, and items for the future. Each person's time will be limited to 3 minutes. Providing our residents with an open forum to make public comments is vital to our democratic process. It ensures that every voice in our community has an opportunity to be heard at each council meeting. Please be advised that all participants, in person or Zoom, are expected to conduct themselves respectfully and professionally. Interruptions of public meetings containing inappropriate comments, hate speech, sexually explicit content, foul language, or any language suggesting bodily harm to others will not be tolerated. If any participant engages in such conduct, the mayor reserves the right to immediately mute and remove the offending individual from the meeting. This action is in line with our commitment to maintaining a safe and respectful environment for all participants. By joining this meeting, you acknowledge and agree to adhere to these guidelines. In person, please be sure to sign up in the form in the back of the chambers. Virtual visitor comments and or public hearing testimony may be provided via Zoom using the raise hand feature or push *9 to indicate you wish to speak. You must provide the city recorder with your name before speaking. We will start in person. Did we have public comment? Either of you? No? Okay. If you are, do we have anyone on?
I have Jackson Kimball.
Okay.
Not sure if he wants to talk.
If you are joining us online and would like to provide public comment, please raise your hand at this time.
Hearing none.
Hearing none, we will now close open forum. Moving on to new business, we have resolution R 2026-11, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an intergovernmental agreement, IGA, between Metro and City of King City, Oregon for the local share allocations program.
Thank you. I just realized where I'm sitting is my bald spot's probably right on that camera. So I got to remind myself to sit on that side of the room. So it's not, you know.
Better.
Yeah, or wear a hat. Okay, so what this is this resolution authorizes the city to enter into an IGA, an intergovernmental agreement with Metro. This is for their 2019 Parks and Nature Bond local share program. So what this means is that the King City would be allocated $417,798 through Metro's local share program. These funds can be dedicated to eligible parks, nature, trail, habitat, and recreation related capital projects. Approval of this resolution does not commit the city to a specific project. Rather, it allows the city to execute the agreement and preserve access to the allocated funding while staff continues to evaluate potential projects. So under this agreement, King City must identify and submit an eligible project to Metro by June 1st, 2028. Metro will require periodic progress updates until a project is selected. Potential eligible projects could include park acquisition, park development, trail improvements, habitat restoration, and other qualifying capital improvements consistent with Metro's program requirements. Staff recommends approval so the city can maintain eligibility with these funds and to continue exploring opportunities that align with the council priorities, the parks plan, and our other long-term community needs. One thing to note is the reason why we're bringing this today is the deadline is June 10th. So that's why we couldn't wait until our council meeting. So what we're asking for is if council will authorize myself and the mayor to sign the IGA, we'll get this over to Metro so we don't lose this potential funding. Any questions for me or?
Is this a lock? If we apply, do we get the money or is there other people competing against us?
The money was allocated specifically for the city.
Yes.
Based off of our population.
So we have to fill this out and then yes, then the money will be allocated to us. Yeah. Then we just have to meet those requirements that they have.
And you've talked to Metro about this already?
Oh, yeah. Max and I have been in contact with Metro for the last few months regarding this. Yeah. The original plan for this, just to throw out there, was our paddle launch for kayaking that we were going to develop. We were seeking a grant from the Oregon Marine Board. This was going to be the match component to that grant. We didn't get that grant. So the nice thing with this is, like they've said, is we can use it for a variety of different things. So we just have to have a plan together within the next few years to show them that, and then spend it with intent.
Metro specifically kind of wants this local share program to be used for matching from funding sources from other agencies.
Okay.
So like OPRD, the state, other stuff like that. And so it's designed in such a way that you could use all 417 on one specific project, or depending on the size of the project, if it's a huge match, then you could do that, or you can select a bunch of different projects and piece away at the 417,000 over time.
The one thing that makes this money so unique is typically match components tend to be general fund. You don't find many restricted funds that you're allowed to use as a match. So this is money that I would highly recommend that we don't want to lose out on.
Oh, thank you.
And the Oregon Marine Board grant, you know why we didn't get that?
They had, I believe only 2 projects out of over, I think it was like 12 or 16 applied, wasn't it?
They had 20 applications,
Okay.
and 2 of them were significantly larger than the others, and they decided to go with those 2. But
We can apply next year.
Okay.
yeah,
There was a House bill or something that,
How about the grant match?
yes.
Yeah.
Did that go through where smaller cities would be
It-
required to
For
match
state
less?
grants, yes,
State grants,
yes,
okay.
but no, it did,
So-
and we, as
Does
of
that
now.
make this go further than potentially for us, or
Yeah.
do we have to, okay.
No, yeah, and then there's, we could even use this towards if we got a federal grant and we got, either a federal earmark or something else where, $400,000 to, if you get $1 million grant, it depends on what the match is. The match could be $1 million, it could be 500,000. So this could really help us with, kind of our strategy session, talking about our capital improvement plan being one of our goals. This would really help move one of those projects forward.
And this 417,000, it's out of that big chunk. That was a bond that was passed.
Yes, in
And that-
2019.
Yeah, and what, how much was that for? Like 23 million or something like that?
Oh, gosh, it's in the
Huge.
IGA. It's huge. I want to say it's over 100 million.
It's pretty
It's a pretty
huge, yeah.
substantial, yeah, because it was a metro bond from all metro jurisdictions. And then now they're parceling it out to based on population size.
And there's still a pretty good chunk available, isn't there, of that?
Of
The
the-
original 100 million or whatever it is.
I don't know. Metro has so many different pockets of funding that I don't know if it all comes out of just that one bond measure or if they have other funding sources that they take from. So I could follow up and find that out, but.
I'm going by a conversation I had with John,
Oh, actually, if you go through here,
Parks Department.
Council President, it's all in here. Here it is, $475 million in general obligation bonds. So that was passed on November 5th, 2019. So, and then the measure provides Metro distribute 92 million of these bonds to local government park providers to protect land, restore habitat, and build and care for parks. So there you go. So it's 475 was the original total. 92 million is what's being allocated to the local parks.
Great.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve resolution R 2026-11.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, second by Counselor Quanstrom. Further discussion? Okay, let's go to a roll call vote. Council President Gearhart,
Yes.
Counselor Cunningham,
Yes.
Counselor Mitchell absent, Counselor Arditi.
Yes.
Counselor Tyso,
Yes.
Counselor Quanstrom,
Yes.
and Mayor Kazmarski, yes. Motion passes 6-0. This is the one you want me to sign?
No, that
Okay,
one's
I was
wrong.
like, this one's got some things on
We-
it.
Yeah, there's some, we have some grammatical errors of one that we just need to print out, then you and I can sign that.
I'll go grab the correct one. Right
There's
now.
and then the date.
Yeah,
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 okay.
yeah. And then up top needs to say city manager and mayor to execute.
Okay,
Stick around if I'm not that, but.
I will be here for so long.
Yeah, yeah.
All after.
Like, I don't think you're.
I'm here indefinitely. Okay, there we go. Well done, everybody. Let's go ahead and move on to, our charter review. The fun stuff. Okay, Ronnie handed out a new copy of the red line and sorry, I'm just organizing all my papers here. The red line version and the clean version. We also have a handout from Missy. Is this something that you wanted to go over with us before we start? Or,
Hi, thanks. I don't think we need to go over all of the questions and answers. These are the responsive answers to the questions that came up during the last charter review session, which was back in March, I believe. To the extent that they were kind of relevant to the charter under consideration. I think what we can do is as we're going along, I can flag what question number a provision relates to, and then we can talk about it. Or if the council prefers, we can go over all of the questions and answers.
I would like to read them. Do we maybe
I
wanna-
bet.
5 minutes, like read through them individually?
The questions and answers.
Yeah, the questions and answers, and then that way if we're good, we're good. Otherwise,
That's a great idea.
like a couple questions. Okay.
This was already on the doc, right? I
Yeah.
read that this morning.
Yeah.
Yep. Can I ask a question while they're reading?
Oh,
We would.
Can I talk to Missy while you're reading?
please go ahead. Yeah, ask questions as they pop up. Yeah.
Can you see me?
You bet.
Can you see me?
I can see you now.
Okay. I missed the first portion of the charter meeting last session. So I missed the part about the mayor. So I've read your statement this morning. So does that mean it's totally off the table about changing the charter for the next go around with the mayor?
So Counselor, the questions that I responded to were based on my understanding that the consensus at the last charter review was not to move forward with converting to an elected mayor at this time. So I didn't really focus a lot of my time on researching answers to those questions. Some of the questions were not really legal questions exactly. They were more just sort of like experiential. So what I do think is that after everyone takes a look at the questions and answers, I believe Ronnie is going to facilitate the conversation about the charter. Ronnie, do you have any answers, or the city manager is?
Either way. So. Mayor, do you-
But I do think I would like to just point out that I think the mayor had asked for 5 minutes to read through the questions. So,
Sorry, I
If-
missed that they were linked on here, so.
right.
They're on the,
Yeah.
Okay, so as long as everyone feels comfortable, you all can start discussing.
so the reason that I brought that up is because our LOC sessions we had last week, Jamie had sent me a listing that I sent the city manager showing all the cities in Oregon. King City ranks population wise around 105th. And of those 243 cities, only 11 still appoint the mayor. The consensus is that most people elect a mayor. So that's something that was never entered into the very first meeting that I was not at. I didn't get there for an hour, and that was already over by the time I got there. So I think that information is important to understand, that we need to be able to have the ability to elect a mayor with our population growing. as opposed to still being appointed and then locking it in for as ever long as this city charter will be in effect, because that hamstrings the, otherwise we have to go to a citizens initiative to change that one thing. Is that, am I correct in that?
Hey, Missy, sorry to interject real quick. If, just to keep this online, if, would it be appropriate to then open up the discussion to the council? Because from my understanding, if they already voted and there was a general consensus or a quorum to move in one direction, could we open it up for, or I'm sorry, Ronnie, go ahead.
Because it was already voted on, it would be a motion to reconsider, and it would be a motion that would need to come from a prevailing party.
Okay, so that was voted on. Was that voted on at the last charter review work session?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Then
Didn't we vote to
Ronnie's correct.
on the 2030? Was that?
So let me answer Councilor Ardidi's question first, which is how to revisit. I think what you're asking is how can this council or a future city council revisit this question? And it's not only through a citizen initiative. This council or a future council could put another charter amendment on the ballot that amends this one or two sections or whatever sections are impacted to move to an elected mayor form of government. So it can be tried by citizen initiative, or it can be through a council action.
I have just kind of along all of those lines, and also what Ronnie had said, like, I want it like on the record that I am pro elections. Like, I think people should vote
Right.
when given the chance, right? My reasoning for not yet is because of the expansion. We're small. I appreciate all the work that you did with LOC and finding like the other small cities that appoint versus elect. I think everything that I had mentioned in the last charter review, I still believe, and so I'm not going to go through all those again. But with 2.4 charter review, in this current form that we have, it does say the charter shall be subject to periodic review every 10 years, concurrent with the release of the United States Census, or sooner if approved by 2/3 vote. And I'm wondering if we should add a clause in there, though, that says the first time should be done in 2030 or 2030, whenever the next one is. So that way the future council, that's not going to probably be us, doesn't wait 10 years, because I do think it's worth revisiting in 5 years.
Well, the first time I saw it was 10 years was when I read this. It was 5 years and then this got changed to 10.
Well, it was
I don't know
always,
when it got
it was
changed
always
to 10.
10 years with the census, but we had discussed we should probably do it the first time at the next census.
Charter
Would-
review.
Yeah, which would
Charter.
be in,
Yeah.
2030-ish.
what, yeah.
So it would be like 2029 to be
Yeah,
ready
so
for
I
2030.
feel like we should add that in here, since it would go into effect 27, that we would say every 10 years concurrent with the census, with the first one being the 2030 or whatever year that census is. So that way it can be
So
more immediately addressed. And then that would give the city time to expand, and then we would have kind of a fuller picture of where we're at and not waiting too long to get there.
Go ahead. The earliest time this could be changed would be the 2028 vote. Is that
I mean-
correct? That's 2 years.
Missy, correct me if I'm wrong. As soon as this is, I'm just gonna give you a scenario. This gets approved in November.
Mhm.
3 months later, somebody can come in and put an initiative with me.
That's correct.
So, or you can change it in 28, saying, you know what? This isn't working, this part isn't working out as well as we thought. We can change it. That part, if the city council wants to change it themselves, I believe it would be a 2/3 vote from the council. So it actually, that brings up a different issue. So it would be.
My least favorite fraction.
Yes,
This is the
yeah,
4.7.
4.663 something. So it would actually be 5 or something. So I would have to reword that.
That's why I would like, I mean, if everyone's in agreement and we can,
I thought that's what we had already.
Yeah.
discussed.
it's just not on here. It just says every time or sooner, like I'm just thinking forward to the next council, right? That could present, like, what if they don't have 5 people that want to revote? or look at it sooner, right? So I feel like if it's important to us that the election, part of it is reconsidered in 4 years, 5 years, that we should add it in here, right?
So then for what you're talking about, if you look at section 2.4 of the charter language, which is, I'm looking at a clean copy, so that's on page 4 of my clean. It would say the charter shall be subject to periodic review in 2029 and thereafter at least every 10 years,
Yeah.
concurrent with the release of data from the United States Census.
Yeah.
That'd be fine.
Okay.
Okay. And Counselor Arditi, I thought that information from Jamie was really interesting. What I wondered is if she's got more drilled down data. So, a lot of cities just like our city, they do things the way that they do them because that's the way that they've always done them. And so it's possible that the small cities who have an elected mayor form of government, that is, what they chose when they were first incorporated. So it would be good to know, like, if there was a case study that LOC has of a city, how they managed changing that, transitioning to an elected mayor from an appointed mayor, like how that went. Was it complicated? Was it successful? Things like that. So I was thinking maybe I could reach out to Jamie a little bit and talk about that a little bit more and see if, she can give me that information.
The chart that she sent me, it was very long and involved, and if you ran all the way down to the end, it did show how things were done. But you gotta.
Yeah. Oh, great. Good.
It was a long, yeah. I sent it to you, but it
It's
never,
such good data.
I don't know if
Yeah,
it came out the whole
No,
way.
I'll-
It
did.
was long.
It was a lot of scrolling and
Yeah,
scrolling.
yeah.
Where was that piece? I don't know that I saw it.
I sent it to all of
It's
council.
like an
and I
Excel
just
sheet
asked-
or
It was like the next.
Yeah.
sheet, yeah.
kind of like an Excel sheet.
Was it associated with the LOC meeting then?
No, this would have been, this would have been probably over a month ago, I think. I can go back and I'll dig through my emails. I sent it because there was conversations. Vince tried to send it earlier and then the mayor and I discussed and then I distributed it out to folks, but
I'll go look for it.
I'll redistribute it out if that's easiest.
Just an observation or a response to this list you've mentioned. Yes. I appreciate that there's this chart that lays this out and how they went about it. Does it also include the rationale for why they did it? Because just because other people have done it is not a reason for us to do it, no matter what our size.
The chart.
It's an Excel spreadsheet. Oh, does it?
All the way to the end.
Okay.
So at the end, there's a note
Certain
section.
certain notations are made for what it was done. It's very inclusive. She was good about that.
Thank you. Just because.
She was really good about that, so. Yeah, she was great last week, so,
Yeah, just because.
okay. That's it for me right there, for that particular thing.
So are we still reading?
I know we can start. I feel like it's kind of in order, so and a lot of the questions are, I feel like already addressed in what I read in the clean version, so.
Yeah.
If you guys are fine with it, let's kind of just go through section by section, and that way we can raise questions. In an orderly fashion.
Which document are you looking?
So.
You can look at the clean or the red line, whatever you prefer. Just to get I like to have them both open so that I can see what's there versus what's not.
I moved kind of open.
Yeah, I'm thinking of way too much space. All these pieces of paper. And then I did have.
So.
Yep.
And then on one of your questions for the indirect and direct, I put the definitions in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I did see that. All the definitions, and so, yeah, I think the questions that I had, I've been seeing answers to. So, I don't know that this, in section 1.1, should we say city charter 2027, since that's when it would be enacted, or 2026, because that's when we're like. doing it?
2026, because that's when it's being voted on.
Gotcha, okay,
Is that correct, Missy?
Yes.
okay.
Thank you.
Anybody have questions about anything else in section 1?
Mm-mm.
Okay, section 2, we have powers of the city.
Oh, this is one of the questions. So someone had asked a question about liberally construed, the use of the phrase liberally construed, which allowed me to geek out a lot on home rule, which I love doing. And this question is answered in number 4 of the memorandum. Essentially, the phrase liberally construed is very beneficial to the city because it negates this old principle called Dillon's rule, which Dillon's rule was basically the state's attempt to limit what cities could do on their own, you know, have their own self-determination. And so that's in this concept is in most every charter and including in the LOC model charter. So I do recommend keeping it in. It's not the opposite of conservative. It's the opposite of more state power, less local power.
That was my question originally.
Yes.
Because the concern was that the charter was, in my opinion, more loosely interpreted. And so that was my question with that liberally, like, can future councils / attorneys say, well, we can liberally interpret our charter and make it say whatever we want it to say? Right? So that doesn't give the city necessarily like,
No,
we don't know, so we're just gonna do whatever we want.
no. So the rules of charter construction are different in that context from the rule of liberal construction, which is the rule of liberal construction is to give the city the most benefit of the doubt when it's exercising its home rule powers.
Okay.
So if there was an ambiguous term in the charter, that is, you know, what courts would do is they would look at the dictionary definition of those terms. There's a methodology for interpreting ambiguous terms, which all charters and constitutions have, which is different from a liberal construction, which tells a court if there's a judgment call between whether the city has this power or doesn't have this power, you have to give them the power.
Let's see. A small thing, but in 2.3 distribution, that first sentence ends in to the city voters. And I'm wondering if it should say city electors, since elector is what we have defined in the definitions, but we don't have voter defined in the definitions. Does that matter?
You know what, Mayor, I just lost the sound for a little bit, and it picked up again when it said, I heard you saying electors. I'm sorry. Can you
No,
correct
you're
me?
good. So in
Okay.
2.3, that first sentence just
Mhm.
ends in city voters. And I'm wondering if
Should
it
say
should
electors.
elector.
Yes,
Okay,
because that's
that's what we have in our definition.
it's a defined term, correct?
Yeah. Okay. That's all I have for section 2. Does anybody else have? Section 3 is pretty tiny. Everyone good with that one? Section 4.
Can I go back to section 2.4? That's
Yeah.
the section we were just discussing
Yep.
of charter review. So Ronnie, do you want to, when we've concluded that it's somewhat problematic to have a 2/3 vote of the council because the charter addresses potential council vacancies by saying that, so for example, if you had 2 vacancies, then the council would be a 5-member council at the time of that vote. And it's difficult to figure out what is 2/3 of 5. It always ends up to be a fraction. So Ronnie, what do you think about how we could make that clearer, that provision clearer?
Yeah, so, if you don't mind, can I jump ahead just for a second?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. So in section 7.3 quorum and vote, section C, this is my attempt to fix that.
Ronnie?
7.3
Page 9.
C, page 9, or yeah, page 9, and it's highlighted yellow.
I got it.
Uh,
This is that 2/3 one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that, could be a possible fix if the council so desires to make it that way. The other thing is we could leave
You
it
could just
out.
also pick a number and say, it has to be,
Has to be 4 or
it has
5.
to be 4 or it has to be 5. And so if there are vacancies,
What is
know,
wrong with just leaving it as the majority of council?
So on this one, I don't see any issue. On the rules and procedures, I don't want to make it impossible for you guys to suspend rules or suspend somebody's talking, but I do want it to give it some teeth to, so you guys understand that it's not best practice.
So let's go through, so.
okay, so 2.4, I think the proposal is to say if approved by a majority of the council, which would take care of that fraction problem nicely.
Yeah, didn't we have a conversation though about the unlikely but possible scenario where there were 2 council members and nobody else present on a meeting and that those 2 could vote if, because they'd be the majority? Didn't that, I'm not saying that's what we should do.
No, if there are only 2 counselors, then yeah,
Yeah, so like
There
Mayor said, if you only had 2 counselors that are active and the rest are vacant, then yes, those 2 can vote. But if you don't have a quorum, then they can't vote.
They
obviously.
can't make a decision
Yeah.
anyway. Okay.
and I feel like if there's only 2 counselors, they, like, amending the charter is probably not high on the
Yes.
I,
So for 2.4, I kind of like Missy is we can just put a majority.
Jordy,
Which was the mayor's. I'm not taking credit for that.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I mean, I'm fine with it being a majority.
So am I.
Yes.
And honestly, in your two remaining counselors left standing scenario, then it would just mean that it would have to be unanimous,
That's
right?
Yeah.
Or it's not a majority. So
And we had an opportunity for 2 councilors, didn't we?
Yes, and that's why it got raised.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why,
yes, we did.
So should we talk about this form and vote one, or just wait till we get there?
Wait till we get
Okay. Okay, so the 2.4, we're adding in, starting in 2029, and then striking 2/3 and changing it to majority. Those are
Correct.
our only 2. Okay.
That's what I have.
Okay, going back to section 4, city council. For oath of office, I did have this, I don't know if this was a question answered or if we just didn't do it, but the first time I had a note, like, we have that the oath will affirm support of the Constitution of the laws of the United States, state of Oregon, and then should we add in there the city charter also? I know that usually is in our oath of office, like the rules of the city, right?
Yeah, I could have missed that. Before I do something.
I don't know what the correct term would be, the city charter.
Mhm.
Okay.
So
So,
adding that to 4.3.
yeah, after we've got the laws of the United States, state of Oregon, and city charter.
And we could also put in there city charter and ordinances.
Okay.
That way it covers it all, because I, as you bring that up now, I'm like, oh, actually, in the ordinance, or in that oath, it says
It does,
ordinances. too.
yeah, that's why. Yep, okay.
Perfect, good catch.
Oh, if you're looking at section 4.5,
Mhm.
this generally, this section is addressed in the answers to my questions.
There was one about the resignation from office and whether that person would
Oh,
be allowed to have a public hearing, but I see you answered, you put that in here.
I did put this
The
in there.
provision does not apply to a recall.
Yes.
Right.
because the recall is done by the state, and unfortunately, as much as I would like to have as much state power, I do not.
So this looks like it actually didn't come up. one thing I wanted to just say about this, this is the language in the section 4.5 vacancies. You have a couple of ways to have a vacancy. One is in A. Two is forfeiture, which is a little bit trickier and much more complicated in the real world. In B2, one way to forfeit the office is to violate any express provision of the charter. This kind of forfeiture provision was really front and center in a case called Ellis versus Corvallis. I think this came up at the last charter review session, but the sorry, I'm looking at my notes here. In Ellis, the federal district court actually reversed the city council's determination that a counselor had forfeited the office and said that speech during a public meeting is First Amendment protected speech. So this is subsection C is sort of the answer to Ellis versus Corvallis. It's what LOC recommends as the best way to kind of thread the needle of the unknown right now of how a violation of the charter could result in a forfeiture.
That's 4.10C, right?
And this ties into, thank you, 4.10C. If we can flip to that. I know it's a little confusing. Specifically, 4.10C is quite a bit longer than the city's existing charter provision now, and it does try to capture both what the federal court held in Ellis versus Corvallis and the space between, you know, kind of what the federal court held and for protecting First Amendment speech rights and the city's ability to have the council manager form of government where no councilor can direct the city manager to essentially hire someone that they want, the person that they want. The court said that this charter provision is almost certainly an anti-corruption provision, and it's not meant to make a city councilor be, you know, terminated from an elected city councilor be terminated from their office, you know, merely but for speech in a public meeting. So this is just informational.
So you're saying that section 4.10C
Mhm.
covers section 4.5
B2.
B2. That covers that. That's what you.
Yes, they're related.
Okay. Because I have a question on 4.7.
Mhm.
Are we to that yet?
I had a question on 4.6, but if you want
No,
to.
no, you go do yours first. Let's go.
Okay, the very first sentence, a counselor vacancy shall be filled by appointment by a majority of the remaining counselors. Is it implied in there that it would be a quorum of the remaining? So say there's 5 left, but only 3 show up to the meeting and only 2. So that's implied that it would still just be the quorum of the majority. I just see somebody saying.
Yes,
majority has-
yes. And what the remaining counselors, this directly relates to something that happened out in Baker City where they only had like 2 or 3 counselors left and they were never going to have a quorum under their existing charter. So this is LOC recommended language. The remaining counselors, though, I agree, could be tightened up to say by a majority of the counselors. It does go on though, Mayor, if you look at the notwithstanding language.
Yep.
That's what it's trying to get at.
Okay.
Which is
you
the
see-
circumstance when we're down to 2.
Would it make sense, and I don't know if this is correct or not, if you put quorum as a definition at the beginning, so then you know what a quorum is? No, I don't see it. Because then that kind of goes to what you're saying, right?
Well, but it has been discussed what a quorum is. and
Okay.
I can add that.
So I think that would be a good definition.
Because then that kind of goes into what you're saying, right? Because then it's clearly defined of what a quorum is. Then, okay,
51%.
Gotta be, yeah.
so we'll just add that to the.
So are we taking out remaining by a majority of the counselors? Is what it's gonna read that first sentence.
I don't know that we need to remove
Why
it.
would you remove remaining because we?
So
Yes, there was talk about it. So I'm just trying to keep up.
Yeah, I think we can leave it there. I just wasn't sure if like. I was just thinking through the scenario of like, we have 5 remaining, so do we need the majority of the 5? Or if more show up to the meeting, or 3 show up to the meeting to appoint that person, yeah, we don't kick it to the next, right?
Yeah, they can do it. They could do it at that meeting.
Okay, all right, 4.7, Vince.
So question from a couple last documents to this document, that whole section C has been removed. The council shall have the power to subpoena witnesses, administer oaths, and require the production of evidence for the process of investigation into the affairs of the city and the conduct of any city department. I look on that as taking that latitude away from my ability to do my due diligence. Is there anything that has been added to the new one that applies to that? Because I still need my freedom to be able to explore things on my own.
What are you looking at?
Which one are you on?
Yes. So,
What
but
page on the blue line?
So there's a few things to unpack in there. That the language that allows the council to subpoena witnesses and investigate is problematic from a due process perspective. Because council meetings aren't automatically imbued with due process. And particularly, I'm not sure how the council would go about conducting an investigation that doesn't really instruct or recommend that the city manager be the one conducting an investigation. And so that investigations and subpoenaing of witnesses is best left to the municipal court judge or a judicial process, in my opinion. I can't really envision a scenario where the city council would issue a subpoena to someone and that would go well for the city.
So this doesn't inhibit our ability as individual counselors to do our due diligence on anything that we are looking into. And I agree with you. The investigation part sounds a little bit too draconian. But this came up 10 years ago with Tigard when I was on contract with Tigard to investigate some city councilors that were doing some things that weren't quite right. So when I looked at this, that immediately takes me back to that scenario. And
So,
we don't
okay.
have that situation here, but
Right.
I want to be able to.
Counselors
be-
always have the ability to gather information.
Okay.
And the information gathering ability is imbued in the office. But I think, so that's a great example. It sounds like the city council hired an individual to do some investigating. And that's what concerns me a little bit, is making sure that that kind of investigation is peppered with due process all over the place.
So that's why we took it out. Okay, it doesn't affect our ability to do our due diligence.
No, within the confines of doing investigations and due diligence that, because remember, I think Jamie might have mentioned last week that you all act only as a body. That no individual counselors, unless they've been, sort of directed or requested by the council to act, no individual counselors can act unless it's a council direction.
As long as I though query, or not query, but as long as I go, like I sent you that thing on the grocery outlet thing, I sent you that, the very first contact I had with them. All that's been above board. As long as I do that, then I'm in compliance, right?
Well, so has the council ever discussed that as a council?
No,
No.
you're talking about what Councilor Diddy did regarding grocery outlet?
Well, we're still having that conversation with them. But
So I would suggest that before any counselor can, this is a training I want to do, but one way to think about it is if you are using your city email, the first line of your city email should be, I'm a member of the King City City Council. The council has directed me to whatever it is, reach out to you, investigate this. Otherwise, you can ask about things in your personal capacity, and then you can bring ideas to the council. But the council only acts as a body. The counselors do not act in their as individuals while being counselors.
So if there is something a counselor wants to investigate or look into, it should be brought up at a council meeting and say, does the council want me to pursue this?
Yes,
Get a consensus.
that's a good way of saying it, right?
Get a consensus and then move forward.
Well, I'm reluctant to bring it up in an open council meeting because that scares people. When you hear, we talked about this in the context of urban renewal. Okay, that scares people if they think that business is going out of business.
I would say, you know, counselor, you can bring it up with me and then you and I could discuss
Okay.
and then we could strategize on going from there. Would this also, Missy, pertain to then if you had, and not trying to draw this out, I'm just thinking like, if a counselor's in a situation where a community member comes up and then they start asking that council member some sort of inquiry or a question that they may have, would that be something too that they would need to say, you know, thank you for bringing this to me, but I need to get the general consensus of the council, or I need to get that to be able to move forward with this, or to be able to discuss this further? Because I find myself in those same situations where I go so far and then I have to say, well, I need my counsel to direct me. So.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I do think, you know, because it's a small community and you're really basically there as the stewards of the city's resources, you know, funds, community values, all of the things that you were elected to do. And so you have to think about you're acting in that capacity as a council that is the steward, not individual counselors aren't individual stewards of their own personal priorities, if that makes
But
sense.
otherwise, you would have 7 counselors going off doing all kinds of projects and stuff, and I think we really don't want that. And also, I vote of the council, and I would think at the direction of the mayor also, because there's that Excel spreadsheet that we put together a couple of meetings ago that has all the roles of each one of us, what we're supposed to do. And that was at the direction of the mayor, I believe.
Are you talking about the two assignments?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, that, you all voted on that pretty much, I think. Or no? No, you did not vote on it.
No.
It was.
We agreed with the mayor that, yes, I would do this, or no, I wouldn't, or.
And in
whoever.
in the first meeting that I was in after being appointed, it was just a discussion. Who wants this one? Who
Yeah.
wants this one? It wasn't really the mayor saying, you're doing this, it was just, what's the availability and time and interest in any of these, so.
Facilitated.
Just
Yeah.
facilitating. I have another question regarding that, but I don't want to stop this discussion. The part of it that says, for the process of investigation into the affairs of the city and conduct of any city department, what if the council in general has concerns about a city department? What would the process be for saying, we want to look into this? If that is struck from the charter. So what would be the council's authority?
Sometimes you can't do that in public forum.
Are you back at
You have to
4
have
point?
an executive session.
Are you back in
And
4.10
that's accurate.
there?
I'm just asking for what would be the process for that?
Yeah, where are we?
It's still in 4.7. It's
It's
that
4.7.
that C that was completely struck from it. So nobody actually can see it.
Yeah,
This is
so
from the very
it-
first one.
Yeah, it's from the first one, it's kind of.
So I don't remember striking that from, like, I don't have notes on here that we
So
got rid of
Missy
it.
and I decided, we put the new one, red line on this one, because that one was getting too.
Right, but on my notes, I don't have any notes on here that we had talked about getting rid of that.
That was.
So, and that's fine. So I guess my question then is just what,
Things
Ms.
not
in your
started, you don't know what needs to-
advice to us, I suppose, what would be the process if council was like, we really need to look into this department because we think something's going on? Like, do we start with the city attorney? Because council still would need to somehow discuss that. Is that executive?
Mhm.
Like, where would that be?
It's not
Where would
an-
that process
no.
be?
So that's not a proper subject for an executive session, and
Right.
it does need to be discussed in open session. It's hard to say in the hypothetical circumstance, but obviously if there's a city department that the council has concerned about, they would direct the city manager to look into what their concerns are. If the council has a concern about the city manager, there are public meetings law overlays there, which you might know about. And so we would need to tackle that sort of one-on-one. So there are, obviously, the council still has a lot of authority to manage the city manager, but the council doesn't manage city departments. And so probably you would want to work with the city attorney about your concerns. And the city attorney would come up with a way to do that within sideboards, because a concern about a city department is really ultimately a concern about how the city manager is managing a department. And so it's a concern about the city's management.
So let's go back to a year ago where we may not have felt comfortable asking the city attorney to check into something, not comfortable asking the city manager to check into something. I think that
You got to
there's
get a
lot-
new city attorney so you can ask them.
Yeah.
Where were you?
I guess the guardrails of like, how do we make sure, like, who do we go to in this case, right? Like, if something needs to be done, well, I don't know who to go to, right?
Right.
Like, process. And I don't know if that's something that should be in the charter, if that's something that would be in the council rules, which I don't think we've developed yet.
We're working on it,
Okay.
but we're.
So I
That's
think
the next
that
step.
like that needs to be somewhere, because right now we're in a great spot, things are running smoothly, but there could come a time again where the council's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know who to go to, right? Like ideally, yes, I would go to the city attorney and say there's concern,
Right.
go. But
You need to,
Sure.
it's
Or
just
HR,
really,
which-
it's really
now we do have
fundamental. It's really fundamental that the council has a trust relationship with your city attorney. And so if the council is finding itself thinking, well, I don't really want to go to the city attorney because I don't really trust their answer, that's the answer to the big question. And I'm kind of kidding, but that you would need to find a new city attorney. So,
Yeah.
and of
Okay.
course, the city attorney serves at the pleasure of the council. And so, I mean, in a weird way, that's kind of how it worked out
so
in
actually,
a very not ideal way.
I think in the city attorney section, it doesn't say anything about removal.
Oh,
5.5 city attorney, it's, well, so starts on page 7, but I think it really goes to page 8.
So,
see. I have to look at your current
So-
charter.
It says by resolution or ordinance, city council will adopt well, how do we appoint? Where does it say we appoint?
so this, on
Or-
page
oh,
7.
appointments. Here we go.
Which
So
was
5.1 appointments, is that it? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a flaw in the LOC. Thank you for pointing that out. That is actually a flaw in the LOC model charter, and I do think that that should be amended to say shall appoint and may remove. And I think that's just a majority. A majority of the council shall appoint and may remove. I like that language from the city's existing charter.
Yeah.
What section are you on? Because on 5.1.
Oh, we jumped to
5.1A.
Oh, yes, that's right. Thank you. Each
So
of
if I-
each of whom serves at the pleasure of the council and are appointed and may be removed by a majority of the council. Thank you, city manager. 5.1A.
The back of my head says you're
We're
welcome.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So I mean, just to kind of close the conversation on that. I definitely understand the concern, but there's some pretty significant risk from a council that starts to go off on its own. And do the kind of investigatory things that I mean, there's some risk, some
And I would
financial
say-
risk.
I wouldn't say they should go investigate themselves.
Right.
Like, I'm saying more like, what is, if there are concerns, whether brought
Mhm.
by, community members, or like, what is the process for council to say,
Right,
we want this looked into?
right.
So it sounds, and now we do have HR, which is helpful because we didn't have that last year either. So.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
All right.
You also
So
have-
we were back on 4, right?
you also
We're
have-
still pondering 4.
We jumped up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was 4.7
Number 4.
that we had.
So I have a few things on 4.8.
Okay, yeah, that are highlighted.
Yep.
Okay.
Currently, the way the charter
Mhm.
reads is the council will appoint a counselor as mayor at the first meeting of an odd year, and that's the same in 4.92. Missing there, we're discussing that maybe we want to do it every year, but it's really up to you guys. Because I'm
Appoint mayor every year.
Appoint the mayor.
appoint the mayor
And the council president.
every year. That way you don't feel like you have to do it for 2 years. You could have that little break.
I very much appreciate that, doing it every year. I think if the mayor is doing a good job and wants to continue and the council agrees, that's great. It's also kind of a guardrail for, we're not super happy with how things are going, let's choose someone else. It also is a huge time commitment, so you get through a year of it and then you're like, okay, that's a lot, like, can I do it another year? I think it would also limit the potential of like, I'm gonna step down and let somebody, right? It would show the community that there's not so much movement because people are stepping down or resigning or whatever. So, I like the idea of it.
And it also kind of helps with the success, like Missy's mentioned a while back ago, it helps with the succession planning too.
So for me, there's the upscale learning, like nobody could step in right now and do what you're doing without a significant amount of learning and uptake. So is that wasted
Okay.
time? No, we couldn't. I couldn't. So let me just say that.
Well, but then you just would say, I'm not ready to do, like, you wouldn't likely be in
But there's a
consideration.
learning curve. And now that you're in the second part of
Yeah.
your term, we don't have to teach you so many.
I mean, that is true. But again, like, even each year, like,
You know,
if we,
about
if
that, right?
we change it to every year, the same person could still do it for 2 years. Like, hey, this is going great. We're in full swing. Like, let's keep it going another year. But I really just appreciate the guardrails of like being able to change course without a significant amount of,
I wonder what. it
I
would
think-
look like
I think
to
it's a
the
release, but,
community.
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
What would it look like to the community? Would it look like, gee, here we go, we're changing mayors again?
Yes.
Seems like we just did that a year ago.
Well, if you did change the mayor at night and you kept doing it every year, it would.
Yeah.
But
that's
if
true.
you've only got the provision that if you've got somebody
Good mayor.
gets ill or just something goes haywire, you've got the liberty without having to make a special kind of provision for going against your odd year. So
Yeah.
I think you have to presume that council is going to use good sense and be restrained in
yeah.
moving chessboard.
I'm gonna let you speak and then I'll say one more thing.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead then. Oh, wait,
It is a huge time commitment.
yes.
So I think the ability to say like, I really appreciated doing that. I learned a lot. That was great. But like, I don't have the time to do it next year, but I want to be on council and I want to still contribute. This is also volunteer. It's not paid. So to be in it for 2 years, knowing that it is like almost a full-time job, if you already still do have a full-time job, like it is a big time commitment.
Yeah.
And so I think it allows council or the mayor to be like, that was great. Let's choose someone else and let's let someone else step up and do it. Like, there's a lot that needs to be done and it does require some like dedicated time, you know? So who has the time to do it? Who wants to do it? And who would be good at doing it? And there is a learning curve for sure.
It's huge.
But also there's so many great resources in place now. It's not, you're not doing it on your own, you know? So that's my 2 cents. I'm fine every odd year, but I do like the idea of every year as well.
So you would do that to both the mayor and the president, council president.
That's,
We've been through 4 mayors in 2.5 years.
yep,
There's no consistency there.
nope.
The public knows that. I like the way it is now, at least 2 years. If someone doesn't want to make a commitment, they shouldn't step up. This goes back to voting. If you're running for mayor, it's not a joke. You're making a commitment. And if you're running for two-year terms or 4-year terms, that's a commitment. So I understand what everyone's saying, but I agree with Steve. There's some, I won't use the word distrust, but there's some things in the community right now that doesn't want to have anything to do with us. They just think we're messed up. And it hasn't changed. When you guys go to run for office this year, you're going to get that backlash. You're going to hear what they have to say when you go out to these houses and talk to people, the ones that'll even talk to you. Some will just shut the door and they won't
I
even
think
talk.
it's important as somebody who's very big on marketing that we need to change that
Yeah.
narrative because we are in a different spot and
We
we
are.
are working better together and we aren't a joke. We
Yeah.
have accomplished a lot in the last year and that needs to be out there. Like, people shouldn't, in my opinion, be super still angry with us. Like,
You out.
We-
I'm
we-
just surprised.
and I know that they are, but also like, how much do they know about what we've done?
They don't.
They don't. And so it needs to be out there that, yeah, you might still run into it, but we have like a pretty decent record of what has happened in the last year that we've been able to accomplish.
I agree. Yeah.
So we need to just change that narrative. And when people are angry at council, say, these are all the things that we've done. Like, we work well together. We have like well, they used to be up there, our vision, our mission, like we've done so many good things. Let's start changing that narrative. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I had this conversation yesterday with somebody from Summerfield who says, well, isn't King City just a mess? And I said, no, we're not.
Yeah.
We're stable, we're moving forward.
Yeah.
We've got a positive council, but I mean, her perception
Yeah.
was what you're talking about, that big blowback.
And that's Summerfield, that's in Tigard.
And it's not gonna,
I understand that.
That's outside the community.
it's not gonna be fixed overnight.
No.
We had a tarnished reputation for a while.
Yeah.
So we're still correcting, but that information needs to be out there. Sorry. Go ahead. Linda.
I would like to point out that one of our HOAs just had some elections and they elected the same people. And there's a lot of unhappiness about that. We're doing the same thing again, over and over and over again, right? So it leads to your idea that we should change every year. It
And
supports your idea for that.
Those people probably are confusing City Hall with KCCA.
They do
They
all
have
the
all the
time.
time.
Say the majority, a large percentage, let me say it that way. They confuse what's happening at the city with what's happening in their HOA.
So let's take it back to if it was every year. So this is assuming that we're still appointing the mayor, right? This could all change in 5 years anyways. So over the next 5 years, do we want to leave it as is every other year? Or do we want to change it to every year until the charter is reviewed again and potentially goes to election? Like, just to keep it every other year? I can be swayed either way, so whatever, I mean,
I would go with every year personally.
If it's section 4A of the F, it says if the mayor vacates the position, the council will appoint a counselor as mayor at the next meeting. So if we do this every other year and then the mayor at the end of the first year says that person would like to step down, that's what you guys have written here already, right?
Yeah.
You've already got that.
that's how I
Okay.
read that.
2 years isn't a long time. If you're committed to doing it. Don't look at me. like
I'm
that.
not 100% committed to do this, but 2 years is a long time.
2 years is a long time. It can, yeah.
But the first year you're learning and the second year you're running. Yeah, so.
Of course, you went from not being on city council at all, really, to
Oh,
being
goodness.
mayor. Oof. So, I mean,
Yeah.
that's huge. You didn't have any learning.
Well, you didn't tell the rest of the story, but we all know what the rest of it.
It was a challenging time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a
Well, and
distressed
not
time.
always gonna
Totally.
be like that, so-
So for the sake of clarity and transparency. And we are in a special meeting, can I get a motion? Or can I recommend a motion for you guys to do and just to leave it as is? Just so
I don't
it's
know that we
on the
need to
record
vote as
and
much as just a consensus on it. I mean, just,
I agree.
Vince, what would you prefer? One
I
or
leave
two?
it the way he wrote it.
Two?
Leave it as is odd year. That's my choice. You
Linda?
guys have to choose.
1 year makes sense, but I'm fine with staying with 2.
I'll go with 2.
1 year.
2.
Sounds like let's just leave it at 2.
The other thing I wanted to point out under this, in this, these two provisions of the duties of the mayor and the duties of the president, Ronnie and I had also talked about, again, this is just to embrace the concept of succession planning, because succession planning really does make for any organization to run much more smoothly. To perhaps think about appointing a second council president in addition to the council president. And that person really only steps in if the mayor and the council president are both out of town or Lord forbid something, they both step down or something like that, so that succession is in place. This is a lot of process, but also the city has kind of a large city council and a lot of, 7 is a large number for a city with the current population. So you have a pretty deep bench.
You could also think of it as a secretary position.
So then, but then does there need to be duties of, or no, is it's just, they're just gonna be, so I guess I was trying to figure out, since that happens so rarely, and our current process is if mayor and council president are gone, the counselors that attend the meeting would just vote for the chair. So of that, right?
Hmm.
To
Like
run the meeting.
That's right.
that would be the procedure, is like the 5 that show up, majority vote for who's gonna preside over the meeting.
Yeah, but who's gonna preside?
Yeah, who's gonna preside over the meeting.
They
So
vote on it.
they would vote on it. The 5 that are there vote, majority votes
So-
who presides over the meeting.
So without this clause in here, yeah, it would go to Robert's rules and
Yeah.
the majority would vote for a person to run the meeting.
That meeting only.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking, like, is that a difficult thing to do? Like, do we need this clause? But, cause I just feel like then we have a second council president that then is that like, oh, I have all these special duties, or like at that point, why don't we just have 1 through 7? I don't know. And
Is it a council vice president?
I don't know. Go ahead, Jim.
I kind of like having that in there because all of a sudden some disaster happens and both of you are gone
Yeah.
for whatever reason.
Temporarily or permanently?
For an extended period, let's say
Well, if it was permanently, then you would
for an extended
have to
period.
just appoint a
Okay,
mayor.
So for whatever reason, something like that happens. It's just like on the national level, you go from the president to the vice president to the speaker of the house. So you have the mayor, the president, and whatever other person, because somebody is going to have to call the public meeting to order and initiate discussion and a vote. And I'm not saying that person, but it's just a temporary disaster position.
But doesn't 4.9E kind of address that?
Yeah, so it just says they would be the presiding officer in the event the mayor and council president are absent. I mean, I'm fine with it staying there. It just feels like then that's like 3 votes in the first meeting. I don't know. Either way.
But that's my feeling. It's a little insurance policy just in case.
So it's the just in case council president?
So in the event the mayor and council president are absent, should there be something else on there that says no other special duties? Like,
Well, but even if you were both just absent, there still has to be somebody that is appointed to run a
so
meeting.
that would just be, yeah, in the case of a meeting, like we wouldn't just be non-existent for like doing our regular duties, you know what I mean?
Well, I think Ronnie said it. Robert's rules of order would apply. The 5 would vote.
Can you vote though before calling the session?
But you can't. You
You
can't.
gotta
vote
open
before
the
having-
session, right?
You can
Have a
somebody,
quorum.
Who
You can
calls
vote-
the session open?
you can call the meeting to open.
Who's the
Anyone-
they?
Anybody can do it. And then the first thing is they would vote to have a chair to run the meeting.
I mean, let's just leave it here. It's cleaner than you have somebody. Why not have 3?
Yeah, and then, I mean,
So keep it like it is.
I guess I'm also just thinking in in a year where it could be contention amongst counselors and you run into, well, nobody gets the majority vote. I don't know. It seems like if there's already somebody in place, then there's already somebody in place. Could make that January meeting a little bit longer, but depending. But I haven't seen in there.
and then Missy already talked about 4.2 a little bit.
Are we on
I'm
four
sorry.
point two?
Are we going
I
back?
think we were I thought we were at 4.10.
Sorry,
were
4.10.
Oh.
Oh, wait, we never really, okay, we didn't talk about the duties of the mayor and the president. I didn't have any. The only question that I had, and I don't know if this is also implied, because it says council will appoint a councilor's mayor, council will appoint a council president. Does that need to say like by majority vote, or is that just kind of implied when it's when you're
What section
appointed?
is that?
4.8 and 4.9.
4.8,
Is it
4.9.
Appoint,
What subsection?
Yeah.
F?
no, it's just A.
A.
A and A. So we don't have a point as a definition, so I just didn't know if a point always means by majority vote, or if we need to explicitly have that in there. So my
Excuse me,
potential
sorry,
edit would be
didn't know
council
this
will
applied.
appoint by majority vote a councilor as mayor.
Would that fall under census?
Shut up. Oh, just add by,
By majority vote.
yeah.
I think in 7.3A, it might
Yeah.
address this.
Okay.
Although it's odd because section 4.5, that's a vacancy. Let's see, every counselor must be voting. Yeah, I think it's under B.
Oh, B.
7.3B.
Okay, perfect. Yeah,
I'm going-
that's covered. Yep. Okay.
Under there, okay,
Yep, cool.
perfect.
Although, for just clarity, is it harmful to add that in there so that people
Add it
aren't happy to,
into-
like, if I'm
Just
looking
put
at,
it as another subsection.
not a subsection, just add the words appoint by majority vote. I'm just thinking like, if I'm brand new and I'm coming to this, I don't have to go find in section 7, what does appoint mean,
I
right?
would
Like,
have no problem with that. I mean,
Search
we
it all.
should be able just to add that, right?
It's
Yeah.
nice to just kind of have it.
So-
like-
Or put it in definition.
But if it's here, then it's just, I mean, we could put it in definitions, I
We
guess.
could
Yeah.
say C seven, yeah, section 7.
If we
I think
just
you
say
could
by
just add
majority vote,
a few
That-
words
that's-
just to that sentence and then it's
if
fine.
we just say by majority vote, then a new person reading through the charter doesn't have
Yeah.
to be like, where.
Yeah, they'll go back.
Well, it-
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
do a definition for a point, you might, because you get into because you have like quorum, you have the 2/3, you have majority, and it's like, which one could it fall into
No,
if
let's
you?
just add it here and then
So-
we don't have to
So
search any.
make sure I have it correctly. It says council will appoint by majority,
By majority vote,
by majority vote.
Then period, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
for both 4.8 and 4.9. That way it's just like abundantly clear, like
Yeah.
what.
Yep, it is.
So what did we add earlier today?
A.
In the definition?
Quorum?
Elector, or no, that was,
Elected.
no.
It was
Or quorum.
quorum. Quorum is what we were adding to definition.
Electors. We just
Electors was
acknowledged that
already-
electors were already there and we
Yeah.
took out the word, yeah,
Yeah.
so it's quorum.
Okay, that's all that I had for,
Just a time check so everybody is aware it's 2:23. So I just want to kind of give a little bit of the
I
clock.
think we're going through the meat of it right now, right? Okay, yeah.
Yes, 3 o'clock. Yes.
Okay, and then just FYI, because Ronnie gave this to me, so I should let you all know. June 17th, this will be on the agenda for council review. If we want it to be.
This.
Yeah, if we agree to what's here, then we'll be able to vote on it next week, right? Is that what you're saying, Ronnie? If we want to. July 15th is the preferred date to approve for the voters. So if we don't do it next week, we definitely should do it in July. Because then August 5th is the drop dead date.
Oh, I thought it needed to be before that.
We get into the voters.
It's
pamphlet.
August 5th to
Yeah.
get into the voters pamphlet.
So-
Huh.
We need to try to get through this to where we're comfortable with it
Mhm.
today or at the very latest by our July meeting.
I would say, yeah, with the mayor, we recommend this month. If we have to push to July, that's fine, but August 5th is that drop dead.
So kind of what I was thinking too is like, you don't have to take action on next week on it. You can just, you guys can talk about it, review it, let the public look at it, whatever. And then at July, then you can approve it then.
So do
But if
any
it-
changes that we made here, do we send them back to the committee?
No.
No.
Maybe gave us their recommendations and now we're moving.
Okay, that's right. So we just vote on it. Okay.
A clarification for me, if July 15th is the drop dead date, when is our July meeting?
I think it is the
15th.
Is it?
That's why that's
Oh,
the date.
that-
It's actually August 3rd. but we don't want a special session.
But we don't want to leave it till the 15th, just to.
No, that's why, so we got
Right.
35 more minutes, so let's
Yeah.
let's go down and do it. 4.11, I just had a question why we removed the part about having an independent committee for compensation to counselors.
So my recommendation on that was it's not necessary to put that in the charter. And it
Okay.
seemed like it was going to be one of those provisions like the light rail prohibition that
No.
in 15 years later seems reactionary. The council can appoint an independent committee to review compensation. You have that inherent authority to do that, and it doesn't need to be in the charter.
Didn't the charter actually say like no compensation for counselors? Or did-
Yes,
so did
so
we-
in section 4.11, it now doesn't say that. It says nothing about it. And so if the council wants to appoint just through its own inherent powers, an independent committee to study compensation for counselors, you can do that. At the point where the independent committee came back to you, then you would maybe want to think about putting compensation for counselors into the charter. It's not a requirement.
Gotcha.
The problem with the prohibition was that it was a very severe prohibition on compensation, and we ran into all kinds of problems when the OGEC came down.
But we've removed that the
Correct.
prohibition, and so now council can move forward.
Right. Plus, we have the new legislation,
Okay.
which took care of the problem.
So this part now just, the council must authorize the compensation of the city officers and employees as part of its approval of the annual city budget. That just gives you authorization to approve the budget, which you have to do by law anyway. But after you make a different resolution, like you guys did with the Charter Review Committee, you would take their adoptions, put it in the budget for next year, whatever year, and then approve it that way.
So is the same that we have to authorize your salary?
You guys do, because you adopt the budget.
As part of the budget,
Just authorize.
as
Yeah.
part of the annual city budget.
Yeah,
We're gonna get paid
Just on
at some
a
point.
granular basis.
yeah.
We need to get paid.
Any more questions on that part or move on to 5? I was wondering if in 5.1 subsection A appointments, if we should add, it says the appointed city officers or city manager, city attorney and municipal judge. And then should we add in any additionally created offices by council? Because then part B says council may create appoint. So should we add and anything else? Because we do have that in, I think a little bit further down in a different section. Anyways, but if council can create an appointive office, we should probably have that in section A, right?
Yeah. So then it would say after municipal judge, it would say, and any other officers, officers created by the council.
Office or officers?
Officers.
Just to make it match, because A uses the officers,
Yeah.
we would want to have it match.
Okay.
Yeah, that does give the council more flexibility to not have to go back to it for a charter amendment.
Okay.
The other thing I thought we should flag here, Ronnie, is any vacancy in any appointed office will be filled within 12 months. I think that was the same, possibly the same language from the existing charter, but under the acting, this ties into 5.4A under the acting, the pro tem city manager. The current charter has you filling the city manager position within, the current charter has a pro tem city manager only being able to serve in that position for 6 months.
Mhm.
And it turns out that's a pretty short time.
Yeah.
So our recommendation was to go with 12 months. And if the council is not comfortable with that, you could look at 9 months, but just, having gone through that recently, 6 months was, we made it by like 10 days.
Yeah. it
We
was
were just
fast.
10 days short.
Along the line, well, a lot in here, we pulled a lot out for separate documents, powers and duties, of city manager, powers and duties of the council rules. So my question was, do we need to have all of those documents tidied up so that all of this makes sense? Cause you know, there was a lot of, in our original charter, a lot of things that said that powers and duties of the council, or like, what even is that? Or the council rules, what even are those? So
Right.
I would just not want to get too far. Obviously, we need to have this done, but we need to have a timeline of when all those other pieces are also part of this. Otherwise, this isn't complete.
Right, so I've already started some of that.
Okay.
Everything that we took out for like the officer section, I've put into a different document, just saying as a note to myself, this is what was in it, this is what we need to do. But then I'm also going to probably take whatever LOC has already done from their model charter, put that in there. Missy and I and Benny will probably go through and make sure that we didn't miss anything. I haven't started reaching out to other cities and seeing what their judges do. Because I know there's in-house conversations about some other duties.
And these are different documents, they're separate documents.
Yes, so they're either gonna be a
Reference there at
resolution.
all?
That's what I was.
Yeah,
getting
they're
at.
either gonna be a resolution or an ordinance.
So after or before definitions, can we have a list of linked powers and duties of city manager, powers and duties of city, it all should be referenced on.
No,
No,
so
'cause
I
it
don't
would
recommend
change-
that.
oh,
No.
Right.
Right, yeah, because if the documents go into the voters and things change and you put something in there, potentially then you can't change it until it goes back to the voters or it gets pulled again and that's why we're asking to put things into a resolution, because then it gives the council the ability to modify certain things without having to bring it to the voters every single time.
And that makes sense.
Yeah.
But then as I'm just putting on like a new counselor hat, as I'm looking through this and I'm like, powers and duties of city manager, where are the power,
We could have an addendum that maybe
Sure,
goes, but
right.
I would say I wouldn't put it in the official document because then it becomes a document that has to be voted on to amend it.
So more of like an intro on the website or something, like
Like a cover page or something,
Yeah.
right? Like
What I can do,
an addendum, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it goes behind, like,
Yeah.
it's gonna say, what do you do?
Yeah,
What do you do?
yes.
What do we
So
do?
eventually, yeah, not voted on, but eventually all contained in the same,
It's a general sense.
not
of what-
document, but like same place on the website or whatever, where it's just very easy to see.
Yeah, you want everything compiled so that
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
easy, accessible and all that.
So that's
Okay.
the plan. Okay.
Missy, would that work for you as making an addendum?
Yeah, I do. I wouldn't add anything to the charter though, because the way it's working is the voters are voting on the charter, which is
Yeah.
the city's constitution, but they're trusting the councilors that they elect to implement the charter
That makes
with
sense.
specifics.
the other thing that I can do too, at some point, when this is a different conversation, with our codifiers, I might be able to link those resolutions and ordinances on the website part of it.
So if I'm looking at our charter
So-
online,
so
you
when
can
you-
link whatever it says powers and duties. of
Yeah,
the
so
city.
where
Okay,
it says
that would be
powers and
great.
duties, I can link that
That would be awesome.
That's awesome.
to that.
Yeah.
In addition to it being an addendum?
Yeah.
Yeah, what Missy's saying though is you
Like
don't,
you're linking it to the bottom of
the website is where it'll be linked.
Yeah.
It's just on the official document. You won't, this will be your document and then you'll have other things that are more fluid and it gives us the ability to change, update all of that, because it's not in the official voted on document.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Yeah.
It's just, there's an Oregon constitutional provision that prohibits delegation. So if we try to sort of write the charter so that it's constantly being updated as outside documents be updated, it would violate that provision.
We're at five, are we at 5.5?
I did have a question about acting city manager. The first, it says the city manager with the approval of council. Can we just say the council will designate? I don't. Why?
So this is a question that came up at the last council meeting. The city manager expressed a desire to possibly go camping this summer
yeah.
or otherwise maybe not work occasionally.
Yeah.
And so I think you all had talked about that the city manager is going to designate, it's the city manager's desire, I believe, and authority to designate the employee that's going to serve as acting city manager during their absence. My thought was that the approval of council would be either a motion in the minutes, approved in the minutes, or a resolution that authorizes the city manager on their own to designate the acting city manager.
Okay.
I think because it's temporary, I mean, I'm not sure, what temporary means.
That's.
the-
Well, Missy,
you
it
know.
also says disability too, because I
Yeah.
almost feel like it's two parts. Like if I wanted to, because I look at it like if I
Yeah.
want to take a Friday off and I want to just turn my phone off and designate, the person as a city manager, acting city manager, I don't want to have to come and bring that to council for a day.
Yeah.
But if
Exactly.
it's something that I'm gone for 2 weeks, I mean, that's something that I'm like, we should have a discussion about that, So I don't know how you would put defining what temporary means, because the way that I read it is it's like, well, does temporary mean then basically if you have pro tem, which is, within 30 days.
But
I
that's
mean,
just
is
for
that-
a vacancy. So
Yeah,
the
but is
the
this-
pro tem only kicks in if the city manager the office becomes vacant.
Okay, what about in the disability? If I'm disabled and I can't, if I'm unable to recommend or bring somebody to say that's gonna be the acting city manager, how does that work? Would that be then the council would then designate who the acting is, and would that be still?
Like if you're in a coma?
Yeah, like if I was incapacitated and I wasn't able
Okay.
to,
ugh. Oh my
So
goodness.
I was drafting this resolution today.
This is a sad one.
Yeah.
Could we, and it was kind of, my brain was going kind of the way Jan went, you have your president, your vice president, your, all that good stuff. So would we say it would be Vinny, Chief, Brian, Mira?
That's it.
And that's it, because everybody else is a union member and we can't manage.
Well, I think my suggestion would be to let the city manager make that call, not the city council, because it's a little bit, it's getting into managing the city at a very microscopic level.
My question is,
What if we said permanent disability?
permanent disability, then wouldn't it be, not then be, well, I guess.
I mean, you could come out of the coma after like 12 years, but
Yeah.
So then how, how does that even work with like resignation, long-term, short-term, that feels really complicated.
a resignation would mean that it's vacant.
Yeah, that'd be the
Well, no,
vacancy,
but if
but.
it's like permanent coma.
Well,
like-
and what I'm thinking about, like, what if I cut my tongue and I can't talk, or something where it's like, and I'm like, well, I can't.
So much the.
I don't know. Or I lose my senses and I can't see or write. I don't know. I'm like looking at it going, how would I designate somebody if I'm incapacitated? But
Well,
I'm still,
so
Well-
here's what I envisioned is that the council would pass a resolution that authorizes the city manager to appoint designate an employee to serve as acting city manager during your absence. And I did not envision that, perhaps wrongly, on a case by case basis, but more that the city manager would leave a letter that's always ready to be activated that says, in the event I'm unable to access the office and you haven't heard from me for 24 hours unplanned, these are the people who are in charge in order.
okay.
And then we don't have to have the council be involved in this.
And then the council would activate once it becomes a vacancy, then you
Yeah.
would be able to then come
But-
in and choose who you.
This is just how I read it, but this is not, this is your call.
So my question with temporary absence, because I know you talked about like, I want to take a Friday off. Is turning off your phone for one day unreasonable? Like, would you need to appoint somebody for one day? Because I think I'm looking at, like you said, what does temporary absence mean?
I would say, yeah, because if I'm, let's say I go somewhere with no cell service, I'd hate to have something happen and then.
No cell service, just like you're off for the day.
Yeah, or if I'm off for the
You
day.
need
they're
to
off.
have someone appointed that day.
I would say, yeah, because if something happened in the city, who's making the decision for, let's say a pipe blew, or there has to be something mitigated.
An emergency.
An emergency, thank
So
you.
should, instead of temporary absence, should we just say anytime the city manager is absent from the city?
Or just say absence, just get rid of temporary.
Yeah.
Absent?
Because that's how you would run it in a normal business.
Mhm.
So, and then
Where
you
you
would
know.
have, and then you would have your succession plan of like, if I'm gone, it's chief. If
Yes.
me and chief are gone, it's whatever. And then
Exactly.
That's up to you to,
Well, and they don't know that, wouldn't they? I mean, that's.
Sure, they don't know that.
well, it should be, but it should be,
I have to,
If you were
yeah,
in a car accident.
yeah,
And you couldn't come to work
yes.
and your wife called somebody,
Mhm.
Rachel, somebody, that it would just automatically
Yep,
switch
yeah.
it.
Absolutely, it would activate that.
Second Person.
Yep. And that helps me then get that kind of prepared for staff so that those individuals know when they're up to bat and when they need to, when they might
So
have
it's
to.
documented.
Yeah.
Missy will have it, Rachel will have
so is
it.
this saying that Vinny is going to come to council with his succession list and we're gonna say, cool, that looks good. And then that is the document that then is enforced.
It's not in the
Okay,
chart.
so Vinny comes up
Be
with
off the
the
chart.
plan, brings it to council, we approve it, apparently, right?
I think that the plan, I don't, so again, I want to just say, the problem is that if the plan becomes obsolete, if someone leaves, if the next person in line leaves the city or whatever, then Vinny's going to have to come back to council, time that with a council meeting. I think a more generic authorization through a resolution to authorize the city manager to make those appointments and
Okay.
perhaps once a year, keep the council updated on the list is the better way to go. It's more nimble.
So can we change this verbiage to kind of capture that? Cause right now it kind of looks like the city manager would come to council and say, this is what I wanna do, and then council votes on it, right?
Yeah,
But if we
that's
want it
what I
to
would
just kind of be a blanket like, the city manager by resolution of council will create a succession plan. Or however you think it should be said.
So we should just eliminate the with the approval of council.
Correct.
Yeah.
Just eliminate those.
Just
words.
cross that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right.
And then how about the
So
sentence?
instead of that, we say by resolution of council.
No.
Well, because the council still needs to make a resolution saying,
I don't know if you need to specify, bless you, that the resolution, I don't know if you need, do you need to put that, Missy, in the charter if we're doing a resolution, or is that okay to put it in there? Yeah, I'm just thinking of like, what if the resolution goes away?
there's other
And now you
ones
have it in
that say
the,
by resolution.
oh, does it? In,
Well, not pertaining to this.
Not pertaining to this,
Oh,
but just other
I see what you're
places in the
saying.
chart.
Yes.
It says by resolution or ordinance, city council will da da da.
okay, if that, I mean, I have no issues with
And
it.
if we
if
already
that's-
have a resolution saying you create something, then it's just on you to always have something in place,
Yeah.
But
right?
if we're asking for a resolution to do that task, what other tasks of the city manager are we gonna require resolution? I think what Missy was saying earlier, I think we kind of need to assume that the city manager is gonna do his job.
Yes,
And one of those functions is for you to create a,
So so you're saying just strike,
Yeah.
say the city
With the
manager will designate a city officer.
Yep.
and I'll put just for peace of mind, there will be boundaries. I'm not gonna appoint somebody and they're not gonna come in and just start flipping this place upside down while I'm gone.
Yeah.
It'd be within reason on what their authority is, so.
and if they did that, city council then
Can revoke,
Well,
because you've
Yeah,
got that
you
second
can
sentence.
revoke, yes, yeah, exactly. Pull
Well,
up.
may revoke this designation at any time and appoint a different officer
Yeah.
or employee. So does that then,
I go down my succession.
that-
Yeah.
though, giving council too much?
I think that's right. Then all of a sudden, we're managing the city employees. If Benny has this disability, let's say it's the chief, that's the next person. And we decide as council that we want to revoke that, aren't we managing the city manager's job?
Yeah, so I'm thinking we should actually probably delete that
Leave it.
next and
That's
just
what
leave
I
it
think.
as an acting city manager is not entitled to
Removal.
Protections.
removal protection, or, and probably even more than that, like not,
They don't fall under my contract or anything like that. It's their kind of a, yeah.
so can we
It's a
delete
s-
that sentence as the council may revoke this, blah, 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 we'll delete that, but then we need to add something that says the acting city manager is not entitled to the removal protections afforded by city manager. And also doesn't, the hire, fire, like, you're not actually.
You're just covering and they're,
Yeah,
yeah,
so I don't, Missy, can we add something like that that just puts
make so we don't have a rogue agent.
more
Yeah.
more rails on like what is an acting city manager?
So the only sentence in this section you're saying is going to be an acting city manager is not entitled to the removal protections afforded to the city manager.
But I
And
think, yeah, go ahead.
And you don't like the council may revoke, which I agree is a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, but then we should add something like just like the pro tem says, with the exception of hiring, termination of personnel, like they're not gonna come in and be making they're just being there.
And maybe we can come up with some simple language to say something to the effect of like, day-to-day operations or something that it
Yeah.
just pertains to that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that sounds better. So then it is just all on you to direct that, but then they're not.
Okay, so then we would say, we would have the sentence that says, an acting city manager is not entitled to the removal protections. And then the next sentence, you're thinking it would say, an acting city manager who has all powers and duties of the city manager with the exception of the hiring or termination of personnel, which requires council approval. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, and does that kind of capture that they would just be in charge of day-to-day operations and?
I think so.
Okay,
And I can limit on my side. I can put together authority of when I'm designating somebody, I would say this is kind of like almost a memorandum where I distribute that to all staff and then staff would see,
Yeah.
this person's acting, this is their authority, and then,
Okay.
and then it would have the duration of time that they'd be acting for too.
Once again, that's exactly how the regular business.
Exactly.
Linda.
I'm gonna say something. It's just a minor clarification because we've said both things and I want to clarify. My opinion is that this succession should be by office, not by name of personnel.
Okay.
Because I
I
think
agree
at
with
one
that.
point I heard Missy say if somebody leaves, well, then you're in a pickle. So
Yep.
it's by the office, just like Secretary of
Chief of
State.
Police.
Yes, that's what it should
Chief
be.
Financial Officer.
No, that's a great comment, Linda.
If he's gonna prepare a memorandum of duties in his absence, then do we need this hire, day-to-day operations, hire and fire sentence at the end of that paragraph?
I'd keep it
I
in there.
think, yeah, because it puts
Yeah.
guardrails on who.
Exactly.
Is they, like, they can't come in for a week and be like, fired,
Or you could have a council come in and make a resolution and change something. It's pretty set in stone that city manager acting has very limited authority in what they would be doing.
Okay, we're moving on.
Okay.
Small thing, we don't have a section 5.6.
Let's get 5.5. We're good.
Oh, 5. Sorry, I don't have questions on 5.5.
I think it's fine.
But you're right, there is no 5.6.
Oh, that's actually where I had seen Missy in 5.5. It's the second sentence. It says the mayor may appoint the city attorney.
Oh, yeah.
Is that where we should put appoint or remove? Probably not remove, because then that's not part of the public contract, right? We're fine.
Yeah, this is trying to capture the situation where you all of a sudden find yourselves without a city attorney and the
Yeah.
mayor is having coffee with a lot of people to find a city attorney. And it allows the city to be nimble, but only on a temporary basis.
Got it. Perfect. Okay. That's my only question for that one. Any questions on muni court or judge?
Okay, so we've got 5.5 and then we skipped to 5.7.
Well, there is no 5.6.
that's just a number.
We
That was it.
That's another error.
That's-
It
yeah.
hasn't
Just
been
renumber it.
corrected.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's no 5.3 either, so.
Oh,
That's something that we'll have to.
Yep.
After when we remove one, it probably didn't auto-populate, so we'll fix all those.
Oh, yeah. Good
Okay.
point, Jen.
So,
Numbering needs to be changed.
Yes.
can we move to section 6?
One thing I wanted to say about by resolution or ordinance, the city council will adopt the powers and duties of the city attorney. So it turns out the city has never had a powers and duties for the city attorney.
Right.
But LOC, who are invaluable, does have an excellent city attorney powers and duties description. So I thought I will forward that to the city manager and he can work on that and bring that to council.
Do they also have one for city manager and municipal judge and?
They have one for municipal judge and they do have one for city manager as well.
Okay. that's
Yeah.
all.
They're so invaluable.
Mhm.
Okay, anything from section 6? Section 7.
Just what Ronnie did on 7.3
Okay.
C.
Yeah, so are you ready for that?
Yeah, we can,
Okay.
yep.
So suspension of council rules and limitation of debate. In Robert's rules, it is 2/3 to do that because you are taking away the right for the council member to talk, needs 2/3 vote. However, I remember the way we wrote this was requires the lesser of 2/3 rounded up because 7 is.
0.7 people.
Yes, it's, fraction. Or a 5 affirmative votes from the councilors present. That's kind of the way Missy and I and Max kind of figured it would work on that.
So
And again,
what would be a good example though of this whole thing? Why are we eliminating or
yeah, so
Limiting
let's
debate.
see here. Without naming names,
not naming names?
we have somebody that keeps talking over somebody and trying to run the meeting. When it's the mayor's job to run the meeting. They would get a warning saying you're being disruptive, please.
From the mayor.
From the mayor, please stop. There would be a point of order from one of the other counselors saying this needs to be corrected. But at that point, the mayor would have the right to basically tell the other counselor, you can't talk no more. But from Robert's rules, when there's a debate on the floor, they need to discuss things. So when they're past their 5 minutes or 10 minutes, a counselor can call the question. And in order for that to be limited, it needs 2/3 vote. So there's a whole bunch of scenarios that go on.
LOC had a seminar on how to deal with difficult counseling. And it was invaluable.
Yes.
And I wonder how this jives with LOC.
Missy?
I haven't taken that seminar. So I think what Ronnie is wondering is, it is important to be able to suspend the rules and move on to, to preserve order. And I think what he wants to know is, should that be difficult to suspend the rules and move on when that occurs? It's so difficult that it requires more than a majority vote. Or would the council like to just have that be a majority vote? Is that right?
Two-thirds. I like it being
Yeah.
2/3 because in the case of a contentious council, if you are
Yeah.
not in the majority, you could be silenced at every turn, and that's
Yeah.
not great. So I
Right.
think 2/3.
It protects the minority.
For
That's
someone
right.
that is truly being disruptive and everyone's like, yes, we need to move on, right? It should be more than just a majority.
And then one other instance, so suspending the council rules. So if there is, say, we have a public hearing that is not ran by the state and it's just towards our fees, and we really want to discuss it openly for 4 hours. You could, and the council would say, okay, I would suspend the rules for this meeting for this particular reason, and it would be 2/3 vote. So, which would allow chaos, sort of.
Sandy has a question.
Yes.
So the question is that if you've got 7 and 1 is being disruptive, you have to have 5 is 2/3, right? So it's heavily weighted to the people that are being disrupted by having it be 5.
So with our 7,
Hopefully it would be 5 people that are in agreement that this needs to.
I get
right?
that.
Yeah.
I
Which would make-
understand this
Yeah.
question really well. I understand the situation really well. So it'd be 5 people to stop the disruption.
Yeah, so yes. And then on the flip side of that, if it were just the majority, the majority could say that person is being disruptive, even though they're just trying to have their conversation, right?
Okay.
So we want to make sure we don't limit people.
Yeah, because
They don't want to silence people.
You don't want to silence, the ability of people to get in their discussion. If someone is truly being disruptive, it should hopefully be frustrating all of
And-
council.
and
right?
honestly,
And like, yeah, it actually does need to stop.
and honestly, this is usually the nuclear power,
Yeah.
the nuclear option. I think in my career, I've only had call the question once. Which is pretty awesome. At that time, I didn't know what I was doing, but
You do now.
I do now.
So I think that this makes sense to me.
Okay.
2/3 rounded up or 5. So in the event that we have a full council, it would be 5. And then
Right.
we don't have a full council, it's 2/3 rounded up.
Correct.
I'm reading that correct?
Yep.
Okay. I don't see any problems with that.
So we got 4 minutes left.
Yep, that's why I'm like, okay.
All right.
Section 8.
So section 8 is straight out of LOC. Module.
Yeah, 8, 9, and 10, council really just are trying to take away that head scratching question, which is, does this need to be an ordinance or does this need to be a resolution or an order? What is this? And then there are definitions at the very beginning of the definition sections that do define legislative authority, define administrative authority, and define quasi judicial. This is just helpful really to staff to know what document they're starting with to memorialize a council action.
Section 9. Resolutions. We changed that because our section 9 before was financial.
So I'm sorry, what was it? Section 9.
Section 9 used to be financial management. I'm just
Yeah,
realizing.
we renumbered.
Oh, now it's
So,
called it.
Yeah, we renumbered it all. So administrative authority, like Missy said, these are all straight out of LOC and to give staff and council kind of a direction of what we're doing.
So you and Missy got them from LOC or the committee?
The
Yeah.
Charter Review Committee only made it to the ordinances section, but LOC recommends also including administrative authority and then quasi judicial authority also. But, and the Charter Review Committee had some suggested language just under ordinances.
Because they had a copy of the LOC.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think the LOC model charter, Counselor Gerhardt, was sort of like in process, and I don't know if it was officially adopted until after their work was almost done.
Yeah.
If I'm remembering right.
It was like right in January when we started reviewing it, and that was like our second to last meeting, I think.
Okay.
So
Wasn't that long ago too that they adopted it?
It was
Recent.
recent, very recent. Yeah.
Do those 3 sections make sense to you all?
They do, but I'm just now realizing we don't have a section for financial.
Yeah, wait.
Section.
Oh, it's
section.
in miscellaneous, I believe we moved it to, is that right?
Yes,
Which one was that, Rob?
yeah, Article 11.
11.1 debt.
Oh, miscellaneous and provisions has debt, continuation, appeal, severity. Where's the?
It doesn't say anything about fiscal or budget.
So Missy, do you remember? I vaguely remember we talking about the finances and saying the finances by law has to be adopted by all this stuff anyway. It wasn't necessarily needed in the charter. However, we kept the miscellaneous provision section 11.1 debt. Is that correct?
I don't know why financial management came out.
I don't remember why either.
I have no issues adding that back in. Do you want us to just add that section back in?
I mean, I think it might be in a different, I wonder if it was
That- I'm-
reorganized.
Well,
We
that's what I'm
haven't
seeing.
come to it. Did we think maybe that would be put in like the city manager?
There's council or,
But there's council information, because I remember having this conversation, it says. If fails to adopt the budget by the state, the budget proposed by the city manager. will
Oh,
go
that's
into
right. We
effect.
were
'Cause I remember that being like, no, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna get it approved. I feel like the budget part should still be in there.
Well, it is elsewhere already, and it has to be done in a timely fashion.
It's not in this current.
Oh,
in
yeah,
what we've
so
gone through.
section 9.
Okay?
it was, yeah, it was in the previous, it's not in this current one.
No.
He's got the old one.
I'm looking at the old red line right now and it. I don't see it.
You know, it was definitely in the version that I reviewed and because were some counselor questions that came up and I can tell you that in my memo, the questions and answers that go to that section 9 were in,
I'm not sure why that one.
How do we retract a resolution? That doesn't say anything about it, just as approval,
You repeal it.
repeal it.
It'll
with
just
a
be
vote.
by majority vote.
Doesn't have to say that in your vote, does it?
No. So Missy, are you good with adding?
yeah,
I
financial management back in.
think we should add it back in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's very important. I think we also,
It shows transparency too, that it's not the.
Oh,
not this-
this is addressed in my section, question 14, which was quite long. And so I'm pretty sure it was in the version that I reviewed. I don't know what happened to it.
Honestly, we could have something that just got deleted.
Yeah.
Accent?
Accidentally track changes.
Well, good catch on that, and we will add that.
So, but it brings back to your.
oh, that's what I don't like that sentence. so-
Yeah, so the sentence that you don't like is,
That it says it fails to
City
adopt the
manager.
budget, then the budget proposed by the city
Oh, that's
manager will
right,
go
I
into
remember
effect.
that. Yeah.
So if we're gonna leave that, there should be another guardrail like adopted within 2 months or something, because I do understand we need a budget to go into effect.
Yes, but you don't want a manager holding it or doing something
yes.
that, then yes.
And then be like, oh, we ran out of time. This is what we're doing.
What if
Uh,
we said for shall go into effect for a maximum of 60 days or 30 days or something like that? So it's essentially a temporary budget.
I mean,
What do you think
could-
about that?
The only thing I get nervous about is just the way budgets work is, I mean, things change, but if you put like Rachel saying or the mayor saying, put guardrails around it to where I'm thinking like,
Just like our public contracting rules, like.
Ratified within 40 days.
Yeah, ratified within, because then.
within 30 days of
Then we're like,
approval.
okay, we're doing a special session like every day till we figure this out.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so my question, we have to have a budget, period, right?
Yeah.
We have to adopt it by June 30th, or,
Yeah, by the end of the fiscal year.
July.
No, it has to be by June 30th.
June
Yeah,
30th,
by the end of
right?
the, yep.
Okay.
Ideally, it
And
would be before
we
that, like you
just
said.
Mhm.
This section, just can we delete, if the fails to adopt?
Say like,
it?
you just have to
Because we
do
have
that.
to adopt. it.
Yeah, I would just get rid of that then,
Yeah.
because there's no, we have to adopt one. You
Yeah.
can't go into the next year without an adoption.
Yeah, so we can't choose to not adopt
Yeah.
it. So if we just delete that, it's not gonna fail. You have to
Okay.
do it.
And then we'll add that section back in.
Yeah.
And then you all will see that when you review it before the June meeting. So if there's any questions that come up, we can push until July if need be. And have further discussion.
Okay, so that would be. I don't know what,
Yeah.
this currently is section 9.2, so I don't know if would you just add it under miscellaneous also, or just do a?
I would do its own section, yeah, or I would make this section 11 and then push miscellaneous down to 12. But yeah, we'll make it its own section.
Well, I'll renumber and make sure everything's beautiful.
To Vince's question a little bit ago, do we want to have a section on here that says to repeal a resolution? I would, just so it's in there, how a resolution could be repealed? No?
Well, there's one right here, section 11.3 says all charter provisions adopted before this charter takes effect are repealed. Oh, that's just saying that.
Yeah, that's just.
Could you have another section under repeal or another sentence under repeal, since there's already a section for repeal, and then put that there? Is that what you're saying, Rachel? Because there's,
Vince just said, how do we repeal a resolution? And
I mean, there is a section under miscellaneous provisions for repeal. We could add a sentence there.
but it wouldn't it just make sense to keep it under
But that's
the
just-
section of resolution?
Yeah, or do
I
that.
guess it's resolution approval. Either.
I don't think it's necessary to include in the charter.
Okay,
Okay,
It seems superfluous because the city council the only thing that the city can't do is repeal the charter, because that has to be done by the voters.
okay.
Everything else is available to repeal.
I know we're over. Do we want to look at the next couple or does everybody need to leave? You gotta go? Okay.
I have one last thing. Section 11.5 Urban Renewal District. Charter does not preclude the council from creating an urban renewal agency. It's my understanding the charter, the King City Council can be the urban renewal agency. We can create our own amongst the council. We don't have to go out and get other people. Is that right?
That's right.
My understanding, yeah.
That's all I need to know.
That's right.
Okay.
So there's going to be a question. So I just wanted to go through section 11.2, continuation of ordinances. And what this says is all ordinances consistent with this charter in force when it takes effect, remain in effect. This was also a question that's covered in my memo. I just want to acknowledge that there's wide acknowledgement that some of the municipal code provisions are potentially not consistent with the existing charter. This was relayed to me when I very first started, and the Ronnie has been working on contracting with a code amendment shop to go through the code in the event the charter does get approved, to identify inconsistent code provisions and do a cleanup. So I'm flagging that this doesn't repeal the adoption of the charter won't repeal any inconsistent code provisions. And we always try as hard as we can to read two apparently conflicting provisions so that they are consistent. And this part will be a work in process to clean up the code to match the charter.
And that is in regards to ordinances.
Ordinances, right?
And
To clean up,
not-
when I say the code, I mean the code of ordinances, correct?
And not to be confused with 11.3.
Correct.
So that's just saying that things aren't automatically void
Repealed.
when we're gonna go through
Yeah.
each one and either amend or repeal. Okay. We did, there's on the red line, there's a highlighted that's not in here under 10.3. There was a section C, which probably should just be A, but it says nothing in this Article 10 will preclude preparation and adoption of biennial budgets as permitted by state law. I don't feel like we need that in there.
No, that
It's
is,
highlighted.
that was a carryover from something else.
Okay,
And actually, I think that is,
It's red line.
well, it's highlighted in the red line version. That's why I brought it up.
I think somebody just,
Okay.
somebody highlighted it for me to remove it.
To remove it, okay.
Here.
Just wanted to make sure. Okay, I mean, did we get to the end?
Yeah, I think the urban renewal was the last.
Yeah. That's it, really.
Okay, and you got a sufficient answer on that, Vince? I didn't hear it.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak for you. You got an answer, Vince, on
I'm
that?
good. She answered it, yeah. it's
Okay.
good.
All right, so the next step is for me to take everything that we've done today, put it in this red line, in this current red line version.
Can
And,
we keep our copies?
Or the
yes,
the
yeah.
current clean version with.
And with the current clean version and put that in the
So
agenda
No,
for next week.
Ronnie,
For you
here,
guys to review but not take action on.
there's a lot of abbreviations going on.
Yeah,
Right
so
here. Is there anything wrong with spelling them out instead of abbreviating?
that is,
Which section?
What-
Room, right at the
So,
bottom.
Oh,
yeah.
that's actually kind of not me, that is more the codification folks. Codification folks on the very end of the charter table, they just abbreviate.
I'm sure we can either update it or we can
Yeah.
put something down, a footnote to say what those are. I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah.
So we can do that.
And who are those people?
Right now, it's Civ Plus, but we're looking at going with a different company right now.
the vendor that does the codification for this document.
Do you want any help with reviewing it before it goes into the packet next week after putting it together?
I will take that. I'll take you up on that, please. Yes.
As it goes out,
Just a glance.
Yeah.
Well, so you're editing it today?
I'm editing it tonight, yeah.
Yeah, any help, we will take.
It's Wednesday, right?
Tomorrow is Wednesday.
We get till Thursday morning? Isn't that when we usually send it out?
Sometimes, but I'm trying to get better at getting it out on.
This
7
sounds like it's
days.
bleeding
If
into
you're
August.
okay till Thursday morning, then that's fine.
I mean, I'll have time to review it at some point tomorrow.
Okay, then we'd really appreciate that. That'd be
Yeah, no,
great.
that'd be great.
Yeah.
Second set of eyes. Cool. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
A motion to adjourn.
Okay, all in favor, raise your hand.
Okay.
All in favor, raise your
Oh,
hand.
yeah.
Okay, meeting adjourned. Good job, everybody.
Oh.
Oh, that's not too close there.
Yeah.
See what you say to these folks.
Yeah.
I just really still start bitching about the city. What do you say?
always have one before you, but we have our, the meetings have one issue.
Okay.
And it's usually near where it's in their neighborhood. I mean.
Well, we talked about this.
Yeah.
In our meeting.
Yeah.
That we were gonna try to pass that, right?
Well, I mean.